guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. The Broken Podcast is back and upon us. Today, I am joined by three lovely guests. I have Clash with Shane. Shane, what's up, man? Welcome back.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Happy to be here.
Always great to have you. SK, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Ash. Very happy to be here again.
Can't wait to talk some Clash with you, man. Can't wait to hear about your Expo buff ideas. But first, guys, today's video is brought to you by Rocket League Sideswipe. Have you seen this game? Have you downloaded? Have you played this game yet? Incredibly addicting, fast-paced, and easy to pick up and play right out the gate after you download. All right, guys, so we're in game. I have my party hat. That's right, all the customization that you're used to in Rocket League exists here in Rocket League Sideswipe. Let's go ahead and jump into a match. As you can see, different sorts of game modes as well. Duel, doubles, hoops. I'm gonna go ahead and play hoops right now. All right, guys, so as we get into a match here, let's see how we do, man. Let's see how we do. There, get it in. There we go. There we go. That's a goal for the good guys. I'm playing unranked, but there are ranked modes as well. Actually, a full-fledged ranks mode inside this game. Season rewards, leaderboards, 5 different modes to play in as well. Beyond your own car, your own customization, beyond the ranked modes that I just told you guys about, there is also a rocket pass and full-fledged seasons added to the game. Hey. Get out of here. Oh, I almost scored on myself. Get it. Did I score? I scored! Goal! Boom! Make sure you guys go ahead and download Rocket League Sideswipe today using my link in the description below, guys. What better time this game just launched? It is incredibly fun. So enjoy private matches with your friends or play on the leaderboards. Either way, download today and I will see you guys in game. Rocket League Sideswipe. Thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. And then we have KFC. KFC, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, my slime?
Not much, man. Not much. How are you doing over there, KFC? How's life treating you?
It's
been a minute.
8 out of 10. Yes,
okay.
It's great.
8 out of 10. That's
nice.
not too bad. Not too bad. Good. Well, guys, listen. We brought you here to do the same thing that we always do on these Broken Podcasts. It has been a while because they don't do balance changes anymore, or at least very infrequently they do. But we should have some coming up relatively soon. So let's go ahead and speculate on what we want or what we think might happen and what we want to see happen. Let's go ahead and start with you, KFC. What do you have for us? Each of us have 2 buff or nerf ideas. What do you have? Try to sell it to the group here and my lovely viewers.
All right. Buff Mirror and buff Rage. Just because they're both trash, they're both never used. Especially, I mean, actually, no, both of them are neither ever used, to be honest. I was just thinking maybe Mirror's used, but what do you use Mirror with? Like, it's just so bad with everything. So, yeah, probably buff that. And also Rage, just, I don't know, make the troops go more like sicko mode or whatever, because right now it's just, you're not going to play 2 elixir for a Rage. It's just
Come
trash.
on, man. People play Rage. People play Rage more than they did like a couple years ago, no?
Sparky, Goblin Giant Rage. That's like the only deck I can think of that uses Rage spell. But
Sparky, Goblin Giant, a couple E-Barbs mid-ladder decks. Come on,
yeah,
man.
I use E-Barb's Rage all the time. I just spam at the bridge and it works. So
That's true. Wow. You guys are veterans then.
Well, yeah, no, but look who you're talking to, man. Come on, the mid-ladder gods, KFC. Here's a question, though, for all of you guys, for the panel, if you will. Do you guys, SK and Shane, do you think that Rage, let's start with Rage. Do you think that Rage is a bad card? Does it need a buff?
I think so, yeah. I could agree with that. It's just like, it's a kind of a trolley card.
But do you want a meta where Rage is pervasive?
Yeah, no, but it's good in Goblin Giant Sparky.
Yeah. I just think like just rework it. Like don't just give it a flat buff, but like rework it somehow that it's not like so oppressive, but is more consistently used. Maybe just give it like the freeze treatment. Deals a bit of damage, but not nearly as much like speed. You know?
All right, SK, what do you say about Rage, man?
Yeah, I'd say it feels pretty weak as well. I mean, one of my friends, Rami, does play a deck with Giant Sparky Elixir Pump Rage and actually has decent synergy with Elixir Pump because it gets extra Elixir. But I feel like it's just not viable in enough decks. So like, I also think a rework would be cool because instead of just blindly buffing, we could look at different ways it could be used instead of just making it more used.
Okay, well, listen, as the gracious host here, I'm going to disagree with all of you. I think that I don't want to see. The thing is Rage. Be careful what you wish for, man, because Rage is a card that makes any annoying OP card more annoying and more OP. I bring you Exhibit A, Elixir Golem, back when it was better than it is right now.
Yeah.
Those decks, man.
Yes.
And then Sparky Rage, E-Barb's Rage. I don't know. You guys are nuts. All three of you agreeing to buff Rage. But we'll let my viewers decide. Am I crazy or am my lovely guest crazy?
Well, let me just say this, though, because the meta has been, like, for the large part the same the past 6 months or so, with the exact same decks. Why not, have a bit of craziness in the meta again,
Well,
Insaneness, you could say.
God.
Insanity, bro. Insanity. What about Mirror, though? Mirror I can get behind, man. I think you want a crazy meta? Buff Mirror. Like, make Mirror the same cost. What?
Mirror's fun. Mirror's really fun. Like, it
How would
makes
you
the game
buff it, though,
fun.
KFC?
I don't know, like...
You're Dumbo, man.
don't
You're the
know.
dev. You're the dev, bro.
All right, let me think. Maybe, like, nerf the card that's being mirrored. Oh... Maybe I was gonna say make it the same price, but like it like a nerfed version that's mirrored
level lower?
somehow.
Yeah, so right now it's a level
Yeah,
higher.
something like that. Yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that
it's
could
one
be an
higher.
idea.
It's one
Yeah,
level
maybe
higher.
like-
We could make it the same level, and just
Yeah.
make that the. I don't know if that would be too OP or if
Like
that
same
would be.
elixir cost and one less level then, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that tried. Like, I would love to see them try that. Right? Like, Mirror is just the same level of the card, same cost of elixir. You just play the back-to-back card.
No,
I wanna throw-
that'd be OP though. That would be too OP.
Well, I was
just
gonna
like
say,
bait decks and stuff would become broken.
yeah, but
Yeah,
for
like spell
one,
cycle.
I
Yeah.
agree with you that in theory it seems like it would be too OP, but like Mirror is so bad. Is it only bad because of the extra elixir? Is that the only reason? I mean, obviously it is, right? Because
Yeah, it's just not worth. It's just not worth paying that much extra elixir just to play the same card again. Like, you may as well just play a card that's better and has more versatility in your deck than the same card again for more elixir.
I don't know, guys.
So that's why.
Yeah.
I
What
think
if they added just
yeah.
a crazy idea here? What if they added like these new challenges to the game that tested out like crazy ideas?
I like that.
There's a new challenge where it's like, Mirror is the -1 elixir or whatever, or -1 level, and they just test it out there. And if it doesn't work, then they don't do it.
Skeleton spawn in the back mode. That's the peak of challenges in Clash Royale.
I'm not sure if you remember the E-Barb CWA challenge, KFC. That was the peak of
True.
challenges. I mean, the ingenious time that I spent, no all-nighters,
that.
no
Yeah.
sleep, just trying to think of what could be the most ingenious, just outside the box mode ever implemented the game. Elite Barbarian spawned in the back. Oh my
I'm,
god.
Lost
I'm
a
surprised you
mind.
didn't go Elite Barbarian, like Rage Elite Barbarian spawn in the back.
I
but,
know, right? I mean, I could.
That's 2022.
Yeah, that's way too high for my IQ, that idea. But yeah, going back to Mirror, guys, I agree with you, Shane. That'd be a really cool idea to have like experimentation in challenges. I think the community would really love it. And I do think that if you think it would be too OP having the same level, one level lower for the same elixir cost to me is a perfect solution, because double Goblin Barrel, you could zap it away. The second one, it's a little bit easier to take care of. I think it wouldn't be as OP. So cool idea. Any final thoughts on KFC's cards before we move on, guys?
Nope.
All right.
I'd say for Mirror, it's like a surprise factor card, right? And that's where the value kind of diminishes, because after the first time they mirror, you know that they have it. And so maybe you can catch them off guard at the start, but then after that, it's just, sometimes it just sits in your deck the whole game, and it's just not worth using. So yeah, I feel like maybe it's the elixir cost as well. So definitely just experimenting with a change.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, cool. Let's go on to SK. Why don't you go next, man?
All right, so I'm going to be pretty negative today and come with 2 nerfs.
Okay.
So my first one is going to be the Royal Hogs. And I would say in a vacuum, it's one of the most prevalent win conditions in the entire game. So in the September 6th balance changes, they gave a 6% buff to Royal Hogs to their damage. And there's a deck that ran Royal Hogs Earthquake with the Goblin Cage, Archer Queen, extremely fast cycle. And it's just, I feel like it just exemplifies how strong the card is, even though the deck isn't that used anymore. Because they just get so much damage. Like, you fireball them, and they still get 3 hits on your tower. You have all the counters in the world. It feels like they can just outcycle and get damage. And it's really prevalent in competitive mode as well. And I feel like it's kind of just a chain effect, because I'm not sure why they did this buff. And I feel like it was because of the Goblin Drill, which was released in the summer update. I mean, it was ridiculous. It got an emergency nerf 2 weeks after its release. But the main counters to the drill were Valk and Dark Prince. And so, obviously, as a result, Royal Hogs are going to be really weak in a meta. They even said there's no space for Royal Hogs in a heavy area damage meta. But I feel like when buffing cards, you also need to take into account their strength in a vacuum, not just their relative strength, because after the Goblin Drill kind of was toned down, Royal Hogs were back. There was less Valak, less Dark Prince, and it's just so good. So I feel like I'd like to see either a reversion of that buff or a small hit speed nerf to make them less damaging overall.
All right, fellas, who wants to go first here? I have a strong opinion.
Yeah.
I can go ahead, Ken.
I was just gonna say, like, a lot of people probably like, oh yeah, you can just play Valk and Bomb Tower, but like even playing 2 counters like that, and even with Fireball as well, it just like they can just still like Earthquake cycle you, or just like get a few chips with the Royal Hogs every now and then. So it's pretty obnoxious. So like, yeah, probably do when a card that has like obvious counters can still just win. It's when you know it needs a bit of a nerf.
Yeah, I gotta say I agree with that. When you say like even if you have a Valkyrie and a Bomb Turner deck, they still get value. But
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the stats right now, and the stats of the Royal Hogs are not that strong.
Yeah,
Like, they're
don't make
only-
my case. Don't make my case for
Right,
me,
sorry,
Shane.
you go for it. You go for it.
You were for it. I was gonna go against the group again, man. The real noob on the episode today. Yours truly. But yeah, man, I'm looking at Royal Hogs win rates in challenges on ladder. They're not good. They're less than 45% win rate in GCs right now. First of all, I hear you with like they do a lot of damage, and I also agree that they didn't need a buff, right? So I agree with you partially, but my counter argument is you're too damn good at the game, the 3 of you, right? Because I know that like the majority of players are like Mega Knight in every deck, Wizard in every matchup, right? And I feel like for the majority of the player base, they're going against anti-Royal Hog decks inherently almost every matchup. Why am I wrong? Go.
I mean, it's tough to balance. Like, you can't balance the game separately for mid ladder and like top ladder.
Yeah,
but you're right. Like mid ladder, every
Yeah,
battle.
that's true as well.
Every
It
battle
depends what you're asking. Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. Like
So
everyone has.
you guys still would go the nerf though, even with the win rates and everything.
It's just like the casual player watching and be like, no, Royal Hogs are trash. Like every time I verse them, I just fireball them. But then like when you look at pros, it's like, oh wait, no, they're not. So it just depends what you mean. You mean overall, like even at the
A genuine question for you, man. Like, do you think they should balance this game for 99% of the players, or for the pro scene, which is like what they're putting out in front of, as like the highest caliber gameplay?
probably for 99%, to be honest, just because it'll grow bigger and make more money and everything will succeed, to be honest, as much as I hate to say it.
It's weird because like obviously you want to do both in a perfect world, but it's challenging. Go ahead, Shane.
I think they do a pretty good job of balancing both, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like you have like kind of these separate metas that exist. Like as you graduate from mid ladder, you kind of excel into like these different strategies that now become available to you for like higher end ladder, and it's like a whole different world. So I think they do a fairly good job of balancing both of them, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, agree to disagree on the Royal Hogs, but what about the second card, SK?
All right, so my second card's going to be the balloon, and this one's honestly probably going to be pretty controversial, but it's been talked about quite a bit in the pro community recently. And so the last balance change the balloon got was the 2021 3rd March update, where it got a death damage nerf. But I think the problem that people have with the balloon isn't really only the death damage, but also just the fact that it gets to the tower, and the one time it does get to the tower, even if it only gets 1 hit, it's just devastating. It does so much damage, and it feels like you can have all the counters in the world to the balloon. There are other cards that can make it work. Lava Loon, Lava Hound tanks completely for the balloon. Minor tanks for the balloon. You can outcycle opponents' counters, and even if the balloon just barely sneaks onto your tower, the first hit is so fast that it just gets a hit. And sometimes this is a calculation that's been done. Actually, rocket plus tornado does not kill a balloon. And I feel like, and just logically, I feel like that should work. So my proposal for the change would just be a very slight HP nerf, so that it can die to a rocket plus anything else, like a princess hit or a tornado. Not one shot by a rocket, but anything else with a rocket.
Okay.
I would counter that with I agree with nerfing it, but I don't think nerfing the health is the right way. I think just nerfing the raw damage, because you mentioned before, like either the first hit speed or the raw damage. You mentioned that it gets to your tower for a fraction of a second, and it does devastating damage. I would nerf that damage instead of the health, because if you're using a balloon deck and you're facing a rocket deck, it just feels annoying that your entire win condition just be spelled down. Like imagine you're running a golem or a giant, and it can just be destroyed by a spell. It doesn't like it just kind of sucks.
Fair.
So I feel like if you nerf the damage but keep the health the same, you still allow the balloon player to like get through and get some damage done, but it isn't as like punishing or devastating when it does get there. Because I agree with that. Like, it gets to the tower, it's kind of weird how it hits the tower like instantaneously versus every other card in the game taking time. And it's like 1,500 damage one shot. It's crazy.
KFC, what do you feel about the balloon?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Shane, to be honest. Yeah, like maybe slightly nerf the damage when it hits the tower.
Yeah, so shockingly, I also agree with you guys. I think the balloon is too strong. I agree. It does feel weird. Like, as soon as the little tiny sliver of pixel is overlapping the tower, it's like down, like immediately. Yep. With that said, I've seen a meme out there too, and it's so true on Reddit, where like it's like a rocket versus a real life balloon, and it's like, how does the balloon survive a rocket blast? So it does feel like intuitively you should be able to kill a balloon with a rocket. However, that was a pretty good point there, Shane, about like destroying the entire win condition. A fairly pricey one with just one spell. So I think I could see both sides, but either way, I do personally agree that it needs a nerf as well.
No, it's a fair point. Like, as we know, Clash Royale is one of the most realistic games out there.
It is.
So the logic is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, every single card basically illustrates the real life card of that, right? I think so. Yeah. I mean, Goblin Drill basically happens all the time, right?
Yeah, Electric Giant and all these things.
Electric Giant, yeah, pretty much. All right, so I guess that's it, SK, for your cards. We got a Royal Hog and a Balloon. We have Mirror and we have Rage from KFC. Shane, you're up, man.
All right, cool. So I gotta say, I have not come nearly as prepared as SK has with all of his like specific dates and exact times.
SK brings the heat, man.
I know he was ready with all of these balance changes. But I want to see a buff for number one was the Giant Skeleton. I think the Giant Skeleton has been fairly underappreciated and underused for a long time. Ever since they nerfed the Death Bomb by like half, and now it doesn't even kill anything. So I've got some crazy ideas for the Giant Skeleton. I just want to see a buff for it, increase the Death Bomb, or bring the Death Bomb timer down to 2 seconds, so it actually gets more units in that bomb versus 3. I know, like way back in the day, it used to be like almost an instant bomb. That giant bomb was, but then they increased it to 3 seconds, and then basically there's 2 ways to look at it. It allows more units to walk into the bomb before it explodes, which is kind of good, but also it allows a lot of units to escape that bomb before it goes off. So I'd maybe increase it to 2 seconds and increase the damage slightly so it can kill some more medium health units, things like Musketeers, but maybe it doesn't kill more tankier units.
First time in Shane's life, he's making some good points.
I was gonna say, I completely
whoa.
Dude,
not the first time.
Shane brings the thunder here. You're thinking of Night Owl, KFC. You're thinking of Night Owl.
No, it's definitely Shane.
I agree with you, Shane. KFC sounds like you do too.
Yep.
SK?
Yeah, I agree as well, because like with that change that they made to the Giant Skeleton, I feel like they tried to make it more of a win condition without the bomb, but it never really connects anyway. And when the bomb does connect, it's just underwhelming. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people ask about the Death Bomb being buffed as well. I could see it.
So if they buff the Death Bomb, do they just remove that double damage to tower thing that it does now?
I think so.
Double damage.
Does it do that? That was one of the changes, right? They increased it. It does double damage to towers now, to buildings, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
I'm not
absolutely. Sure. Nobody plays the Giant Skeleton, and we're like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time.
I think so, Shane. I think so. They have the damage against troops, and they doubled it against buildings. That's my vague recollection.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, the only deck that uses Giant Skeleton right now is like you'll see the odd like Royal Giant deck where they use it in front of the RG and then explodes and they place an RG into it. They're so like, I don't know, kind of.
What do you think about my crazy idea? You've heard it before, Shane, at least. Maybe the rest of you have too. But my crazy idea to maybe increase him by 1 elixir, but put a bomber on his shoulders, like the giant, the same like mechanic as the Goblin Giant.
Goblin Giant.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool
because he's not targeting buildings, so it makes him. It paves the way for him to get to buildings easier by destroying splash. Because he's so easily distracted by skeletons or whatever.
I think it'd still be really, really, really weak. Like E-Giant is like 1 elixir more, way more tanky, kills air and ground, kills stuff that attacks it.
Okay, so don't raise the price then. Just put a bomber on him. Just keep it the same.
But then the Giant Skeleton doesn't hit air either, so I think it would still be weak. Like just because he can clear out splash units, people aren't just.
What if the Giant Skeleton could hit air? I mean, he's pretty tall, right?
You could just grab him with his hands, his massive hands.
Yeah, pull him down.
Yeah, pull him down. I don't know. I think that okay. Well, if he's still going to be weak with his bomber in his knapsack, which he doesn't have, I still think that it's still a net gain, right? It's still a net gain from a troop that's pretty underwhelming. But either way, we all agree that he needs a buff. Shane, what's your second card?
Second card is going to be the mini P.E.K.K.A.
Ooh, what are you doing to it? Nerf, buff?
Just buffing it, just giving it some love. I think it's kind of lonely right now, so give the mini P.E.K.K.A. some love.
Okay, what do you want to? How much love you want to give him? Yeah.
Just a little sprinkle, just a little sprinkle of love.
A little sprinkle of love. Just a little. All right, doing some Bob Ross sprinkle of love to the mini P.E.K.K.A.
Give him a little bit more, slightly more damage. Just slightly more damage. I think.
Okay. All right. Wow.
I don't know. It's just something.
Hey, man. What do you guys? How do you guys feel about that? SK, how do you feel about that?
I'm not sure how I feel because I don't know. I feel like the mini P.E.K.K.A. is a super strong card against big tanks, but then against other cards, it's just so easy to distract. But if you buff its damage, that kind of just exacerbates the issue, right? Because if it's against like an E-Giant or a Golem, it's just going to do even better. But against all those swarmy kind of bait decks, it's not if it's still one-shotting all those bait cards, is it going to change a lot? So, but I'm not sure it deserves the buff either, because I feel like it's just balanced, I guess.
You think there's just other cards that are just like OP? Because it's not used. It's only really ever used in there's Goblin Giant Sparky that uses mini P.E.K.K.A. But I think that the E-Barb version is better.
Well, Muhammad finished #1 in the world last season with mini P.E.K.K.A. Hog Rider.
Well, I think he finished #1 in the world with everything.
Come on, man! It was still the #1 deck.
Anything you get #1 in the world.
That is true, but I kind of respectfully disagree. Nothing against the mini P.E.K.K.A., but I actually agree. I think that the mini P.E.K.K.A. is like the mega minion of ground troops. He's like properly balanced,
Yeah, me too. He's really balanced, I reckon. And he two shots hogs, he's fast, has good damage, and he's just a good card. I think he's balanced. And I remember at one time when he was a bit too overpowered and he was in every deck because he was the ultimate offensive, the ultimate defensive, just the ultimate unit.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Remember way back in the day? Was that back in 2017?
Mini P.E.K.K.A. deck.
No, it was a year ago or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dude, way back in 2017, I think, the Shanghai tournament that Ming won, it was literally mini P.E.K.K.A. You guys can go back and look. Was used. I think there was 16 different decks used in the semifinals to the finals, and he was used in 15 of the decks, man. He was that was back when Poison did the super slow as well. So I remember those are the days when mini P.E.K.K.A. was absolutely broken. That's what Shane wants to come back again into the game.
Wow, Shane.
The poison, the poison meta.
yeah. It was giant mini P.E.K.K.A. poison every deck, man. That's it. Okay, so mini P.E.K.K.A. kind of outvoted there. The viewers are going to have to be the settle that one. What do you guys think? Mini P.E.K.K.A., are you down with a little bit of a buff, or you like the little guy right where he is? But we do agree with the giant skeleton. All right, before I get to my choices, guys, and you guys can rip me apart here, I want to just kind of throw out the disclaimer here that all of the champions are really strong right now. I personally want a nerf to the Queen. The other cards, though, the Skeleton King and the Golden Knight, I don't think I want nerfs to them. However, I do think they're really strong, but they ought to be really strong because they're champions. How do you guys quickly feel about all three champions?
Golden Knight's pretty broken, to be honest. His mechanic is broken as well.
Yeah.
Well, I just want them to fix him to make him more dependable, reliable, not so unpredictable. But other than that, do you want to nerf him too, KFC?
Yeah, he's a bit strong.
I reckon
fix the mechanic and slight nerf.
I think they just need to add increase the cooldown because you can spam his ability on defense and then instantly have it available on offense again.
Okay.
But yeah,
it's unfathomable that he's what is he? He's 4 elixir and you can do his ability at least twice, and it's just crazy.
It's that ability.
Yeah, it's like the old Queen ability.
Yeah,
it's broken.
So it sounds like reduce or increase rather the cooldown a little bit, and then rework them to be a little bit less RNG. And you guys are happy with the Golden Knight?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What about the? You all agree Queen needs a nerf?
Yep,
for sure. Yeah.
And do any of you think the Skeleton King needs a nerf?
I think it's too early to tell right now. I think the Skeleton King is surging in popularity. That's the past week and a half, 2 weeks here. The first month it came out, nobody ever used it. The first 2 months it came out, nobody used it. But ever since they buffed Tombstone, I think people are
Tombstone, man. That's it.
People are realizing how OP Tombstone's the best building in the game right now, and they realize
I think it's just meta based.
Yeah, maybe.
I think in a different meta he wouldn't be as strong personally. So you buff other cards, he'd feel weaker.
Only
Or, like-
because I'm recording this. So I haven't released it yet, but I'm releasing it in a couple hours. I'm recording this one a day before, but I had Morton on the channel yesterday, kind of ranking skill on win conditions and whatever, and he said that he thinks that the strongest. I think this is verbatim, but he just thinks the Skeleton King is the strongest card in the game.
But now you think it's below Eagle because it's honestly one of the best cards in the game, and it's easy to play.
Okay. That was my next question: is do you think it's really good? And apparently you do.
Yeah.
It's one of the best cards in the game. Zero IQ. Who would have thought it's going to be a champion? So
Morton is wrong.
I think he said that. Either way, he said he was like super broken card. Okay, guys. So we kind of agree on the champions. Let us know what you think about the champions, my lovely viewers. My cards are, first off, buff, Three Musketeers, man. Three Musketeers. It was one of the original mistakes that they made. They want to use the clever name Three Musketeers so badly that they made a mistake. Not doing what they did with the Rascals. The Rascals were originally going to be a knight and two archers, but they made them into their own troop, their own card, so they're easier to balance independently of the knight and the archers. Same thing with the Goblin Gang. They made that mistake early on, where it was goblins and spirit goblins, where it's very difficult to balance without impacting the goblins and the spirit goblins. Three Musketeers should be their own card, their own troop. That way we can buff their stats or nerf their stats if necessary without impacting the Musketeer, which is one of the staple cards in the game. However, with all that said, because we can't really touch the card stats without impacting the Musketeer, what I want to see is a full reversion of the nerf that happened about 2 years ago. I don't even know, but I want to see them back to their original deployment time. That way, in a meta with Mega Knights in every other deck, with, seemingly Fireball in every deck, Lightning in every deck. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but Valkyrie being so pervasive in the meta, I feel like just you're damned in every single matchup as a 3M player. I want to see a big buff. What about you guys?
It already has a 1 second deploy, though.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I would say it's already back to where it was.
Okay, then for freaking a half a second, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. I don't know.
I'm
if
just
that's
joking,
the problem,
okay.
to be honest.
So whether it's the deploy time or something else, they need a buff, and it's hard to buff them without the Musketeers. So what do you guys, if not the deploy time, what can they change about them? They make them like freaking Royal Recruits, where there's one on one side of the map and one on the other, one in the middle.
I liked your idea of making it a whole new card and just like changing the name slightly and making it a unique card that they can buff independently.
I reckon you just like slightly buff the. Wait, so are you saying that if they buff the HP of like the Musketeers and Three Musketeers, they have to buff Musketeers HP as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they do right now.
So right now it's
Yikes.
like you can't.
that's why I mean like making a separate card, because like Musketeer is like the single Musketeer is fairly balanced, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe buff.
Very balanced, yeah.
You could try buffing like the support cards, but like Royal Hogs were already really good, and no one was playing 3M still. So maybe like Elixir Pump or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
That's tricky.
I'd sign off on that even. I think that I'm probably in the minority here, and you guys probably all disagree with me. I don't know. But I think the Elixir Pump not in your starting hand is another really, dumb move, with all due respect.
I disagree with that.
Having one card in the game with a special rule that it can't be in your starting hand is so bizarre to me. It's just, I don't even get it.
Pro focused. It's so like niche pro focused. It's like, oh, you can lose the game if they get an advantage if they have the pump in the starting hand. But for the rest of the casual player base, like it really doesn't affect them that much. So it does feel like, oh, why would I play a card with a handicap?
Yeah, I mean, they already. I mean, I can tell that some of you are against this, but like Shane, with the pump thing, I mean, they've already introduced like 100 cards that counter it even better than than originally. Like the Earthquake, like for 3 Elixir, you can shatter that thing, I feel like, God, give Pump a little bit of love again, or remove the card from the game if you don't want it. Because clearly, right now, it's regulated to, basically, we want to remove it, but we don't want to set the precedent of removing a card. So we're going to set all these separate rules and introduce all these stupid cards.
Yeah, Pump sucks. It needs to be in the starting hand again. Yeah.
What if they reworked it? Like they brought it back to the starting hand, but made it like, instead of being a 5 Elixir or whatever it costs, 6 Elixir, and it gave back 2. What if it was just like a 3 Elixir cost card that gave back +1 or something like that? But it was like less.
Yeah, I mean,
less substantial.
I want to take away the rule, but I'm down with that too.
I just feel like Pump just promotes like defensive gameplay. It's like people just like they just play defense, stack pumps for 3 minutes, get 5 pumps down, and then they just go on offense. And if you don't have like a counter card, then you're kind of just like done for. I don't know. I just feel like
how do you feel about Pump, man?
Yeah, I think I agree with what KFC was saying about how it's just a very pro-centric restriction. And I'm not sure if I would like to see it back. Because, yeah, I don't know. Like, it is very pro-focused, though. But about the point of 3M, I think if not the pump, then 3M or some other support should be buffed because I never see 3M. And like the only thing about 3M right now is the strong support. Like 3M is run with Golden Knight or Royal Hogs, and those two are like single-handedly carrying them very hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, some kind of buff for sure because I never see it.
Well, one thing I'm sure of is that my viewers will have some good ideas here. So go ahead and drop us some comments on how you would buff or change Three Musketeers. Are you touching that card specifically? Are you touching cards in the deck around that? Do you have any pump ideas? Let us know, guys. My last card, or the last card of the video, my last card is actually a buff to a legendary card. We know her as Sparky. Sparky's another one of those cards, kind of like Three Musketeers, guys, that it feels like not only is the meta kind of not helping Sparky at all, with Lightning being more popular than it's been in a long time. But also, you know, they added E-Spirit to the game. E-Wiz, you know, came after Sparky, even granted it was a few years ago. But I feel like, you know, with Lightning, Electro Spirit, even Zappies are being used a little bit more. Not that it's a perfect counter, but I feel like right now, Sparky's just got a lot going against her right now, and I feel like every deck has some sort of a game plan to easily contend with Sparky. I want her to be a threat again. However, I will add the caveat that I don't want like them to go crazy with a Sparky buff. I don't think it needs to be anything like absolutely major. But I guess with that said, it's tricky, right? Because if you make her first shot time a little bit shorter, which I think would be a fun way to do it, you could easily verge on her being broken OP, you know? So I'm going to ask you guys for help here. Do you agree with me that she needs a buff? And if you do, what would you do to her?
I agree with you that she needs a buff for sure. I would just undo the last change they did to her. I think they increased her first attack delay in the last like nerf to Sparky, and I would just undo that one. That was like I think it was like a year ago almost.
Just give her the balloon. You're saying basically the instant lock-on damage.
Well, it was never instant. There was always an initial delay.
I know. Yeah, I agree.
But they made it like this awkwardly long delay where it's like she stares at her target, like she's fully charged and ready to like burst, but she just stares at it like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Just the first hit.
Just the first hit.
Yeah,
that's delayed. Yeah, I mean that's a good way to. I feel like that's a better way to make it. Like not too strong for the pro scene, and also like a little bit stronger for against casuals. That's also defendable. I feel like that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, I never see pros. I don't think I saw Sparky once in CRL, but then again, I didn't watch every CRL match. But I don't know. It'd be cool to see Sparky used here and there a little bit more. You know, she's a fun card, interesting, unique. But I do agree. If you're a Sparky player, Shane, it's like you are like come on, fire!
Yeah,
fire!
you're staring at her.
And if you're going against her, you're like, come on, no. Like it's like that long wind up where you're like, okay, I don't know. KFC and SK, how do you guys feel about Sparky? Oh, KFC, you just shared. SK, how do you feel about Sparky?
Yeah, I could definitely see it getting some kind of buff, and I feel like what you guys said with the first hit is like a good
did you just call her it? I think you got the wrong pronoun. I'm gonna cancel, bro.
Woman.
Jeez, man.
Please don't cancel me.
You're gonna get me canceled, bro. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Very rude of me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I would say it's interesting because I'm not sure why Sparky is only used in Goblin Giant and sometimes Giant Sparky. Like, what is stopping her from being used in Golem or Electro Giant or other big tanks? I guess it's the cost.
Yeah, expensive.
Yeah. So
it's so well Goblin Giant for the air defense, right? That's why they use it with Goblin Giant.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And like, yeah. So yeah, I could see just the first hit. Doesn't need any huge changes, but you know, something nice because she's also not used a lot right now either.
Okay, so you all agree with the Sparky buff. We'll see what happens here. Any cards that we didn't mention, guys, before we let you all go that you know came to mind during these conversations that you'd like to see changed in any way, or is that complete our list of 8 cards that need to be balanced now? To quote my title.
Buff E-Golem. Let it split another 10 times so that fun for game.
Does each split give 10 more elixir to the opponent then? Is that how it works?
No, you get elixir as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
It gains. It's like a pump in the...
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So both players
I think that would be great. I think that'd be the best thing for the game.
What if both players got elixir with elixir golem?
Nah, just you.
Just you.
just the user.
Very selfish.
So buff Elixir Golem, he spawns pumps and you gain elixir everywhere every time he's killed. That's an idea.
Nice,
anything else, gentlemen?
Expo shoots rockets.
I would say like
Expo shoots rockets. There we go. I like that.
I don't know. I'd say like,
Yep.
what do you guys think about the change to balance changes? Because they mentioned they're making them every 2 months now. Like, do you think that's a good change?
That's pretty good
change?
news. I like it. I like it. I think 2 months is the perfect balance because like with the 3 month changes, like we're seeing right now, even after like a month and a half, there's still some slight changes in the meta with like Skeleton King like being used by everyone right now. But typically like after 2 months, that third month just felt like a drag. Like there was no innovation. Like all the decks are like solidified in the meta. So I feel like the 2 month balance changes are perfect.
Yeah, it's such like a paradox though, because like all the casual, like I know from like my friend's point of view, they're like, "Oh, what's this? My Mega Knight's been nerfed again," and it's like every 3 months. Like I feel like for them was just like, "Oh, I get to play 3 months before my deck dies again," and now it's 2 months. So all my friends are just like, "Oh, god damn it!" when they see that in game.
Yeah,
and then everyone else on like you on Twitter or whatever is just like, "Yes, a new meta finally."
Yeah,
it definitely sucks. Like for free to play players, I know like a few personally that like they play one deck. That's the only deck they ever play, and then their deck gets nerfed. And you're like, well, I'm not going to play the game anymore because
that's why. Yeah, I mean that's why they have to just keep fixing progression so they can get everyone to experience like the full game, which is what we love.
That's why I like balances that focus more on buffs than nerfs, because that way it's like you're not nerfing someone's deck, you're just giving more options available. So
yeah, I like that too. I like focusing on buffing the counters if possible, you know, whenever possible. I
feel like we've said that so many times in these videos.
Yeah, I mean, but nothing really changes, so that's why it's just like, all right. Or I like more freaking balance changes. It gives us more things to talk about. So I think I'm biased from a creator's point of view. And it's fun to test decks and it's fun to try different, cards out. But I can definitely see that perspective as well, KFC, of your friends, being like, yeah, awesome. They nerfed another card in my deck. And like every month it seems to, you seem to laser focus on the cards that you use that got nerfed, so
that's like pretty much every player, like 99% of players.
True. Well, hey guys, I guess that's going to wrap up this broken podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. All of my guests, you can see their YouTube information, their Twitter information, their stats and player profile, everything you guys need to show these guys some love. Social media, it'd be cool if you follow them all as well. They're obviously all sharing their opinions on pretty much a daily basis. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Ash.
No problemo. Guys, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, guys.